Hello and welcome back to Shamrock Foods Kitchen Conversations, where we'll talk to operators and chefs just like you about how they stay on top of trends, manage their restaurant operations, and bring hospitality to their guests. I'm Jeff Pivin, business consultant with Shamrock Foods, and I'm joined today with Mr. Justin Woodard, who is our branch chef here in Arizona, part of our culinary business development team. And we're going to talk today about a little bit of supply chain. How are you today, Chef?
I'm doing great. How are you, Jeff?
I'm awesome. Thanks for asking. Tell us a little bit about your background, what brings you to Shamrock? Where'd you come from?
So in my previous life, I was a culinary director for about 7 years. So had about 12 kitchens. So as a chef, I don't think, we're any stranger to product shortages, labor shortages. That's just something we've been dealing with for a lot of years. So you do get well versed, and you hope for the best and prepare for the worst.
Sure. Well, and being prepared is top of mind right now. Keeping your head on a swivel. So much right now with supply chain is not just, we're out of this and that. It's because there's a labor shortage across America in every facet. You see that even Amazon is late on deliveries. Airlines are canceling flights. Labor's tight everywhere. So labor's tight with manufacturers. Labor's tight in trucking. There's also, availability, labor to pick an onion or pick a product, create a product, manufacture a product, and get it to market is even difficult. So we're going to deal with spotty availability. And what you're going to see in the kitchen is that there's not always the product that you specifically want. How do you deal with that?
Well, like I said before, you kind of expect that you're going to, at some point, not be able to get the product that you really want. And chefs are creative by nature.
You could just kick and scream and hope it just shows up.
And it's not going to happen. So we have to, like I said, we have to be prepared for that product to not show up. So in the absence of not getting, the pre-bedded onion ring or, that manufactured item that we had already kind of committed to, we have to find a way to create that, replicate that item, and then continue to serve the public and what they're looking for.
Absolutely. It's just another challenge. It's a new challenge, but restaurateurs and operators have been pivoting for almost 2 years now. So I think we can handle some of these kind of spotty availability issues and some of the dependability issues that we're having with products. We have them and then we don't have them. So let's take a look at some options for substitutions. On our supply chain checklist that you may have seen with your Shamrock sales associate, one of the key points is to search for swaps. And what we're going to talk about today is, if we've been buying a manufactured item, could we then make an item? And everybody's going to say, oh man, well, what about the labor? What about the hours? Specifically, when you're buying a manufactured item, it's typically going to cost more. When you make something from scratch, you'll pay more in labor, but pay less in cost of goods. I think it's a pretty cool swap, and if you could do it efficiently, you might make it work for you, at least in the short term. So today we're going to talk about the onion ring. Why did you select a yellow onion? And tell me about onion rings on a menu. Do you have to have an onion ring on your menu?
There's always an expectation with onion rings, just as there is with French fries. I think if you find a way to incorporate it more into, a composed dish, that's where you find success. So that's where you can justify doing it by hand. But I think you also use a lot less product too. So, when you do it the way that you want to do it, they're bigger, sometimes they're smaller, you can control that. So having that control will really dictate, what the end goal is and what the cost is eventually.
Cool. But, and like, this is a pretty minimal setup.
It's a pretty basic
setup. I kind of
setup.
imagined it being bigger, but you've got a couple of different batter options. You want to take us through
Sure.
with that, and you slice them up a little bit different.
Sure. So it most certainly will get bigger in a restaurant setting. I mean, you're going to have when you're making 300 onion rings for the day, that's going to look a little bigger and probably a little messier too. But for today, I wanted to kind of showcase the difference in the sizes. So the smaller the onion ring, the more pliable they're going to be. We have a couple different batters. There's a beer batter, which we're going to demo today. We also have a standard breading procedure as well. Okay. Some seasoned flour, some panko, and then there's the buttermilk soak as well. So there's a lot of different options there, textured options as well. But again, that texture is going to dictate how it's going to look on the plate and what you're trying to accomplish as well. So,
right. So thinking about how this is going to fit into your menu, how does it fit into your brand, and what do your customers really want? And if it just boils down to it, just ask them. Now I got to ask you, do you go ketchup? You go ranch? Because I go barbecue sauce. with onion rings. I don't know about you guys out there, but onion rings and barbecue sauces, what's that?
I can appreciate that, but I'm a male guy.
Oh, okay.
I'm just gonna do a little beer batter here. So I've got, a nice mix of flour, a little cornstarch, and then I've got a little seasoning blend here. It's a little Southwest seasoning. Of course, with our beer batter, we have our beer as well. So I'm going to whisk this to consistency. So I'm gonna combine my seasoning with the flour. And I'm gonna add a little bit of beer to kind of start the binding process here. I really want to be able to control the consistency. That's important to me. I can always add more flour and more liquid as needed. You can see that it's pretty heavily seasoned. So I'm going to dust these in just a little bit of flour before I go into the batter, because I want that batter to stick. That's the thing. You put the onion ring in there, it's going to slip right off. So that's key for me. So what we're going to do here is we'll just drop a few. So I went with the 1/2-inch onion ring. They look good on the plate. They have a nice, they're going to get a nice dark crispy texture when we're done, which is also equally delicious. So now that we've got our rings here, light dusting, we're gonna go right into the batter. And we're gonna kind of get those in there. Let those. So I'm gonna let that excess kind of drip off there. You don't want all that extra batter on there. People love that batter. And we're gonna go directly into the fryer from the batter. We're gonna let them kind of set for a second. Don't just drop them straight in there, because what's going to end up happening is you're going to break that batter.
These are looking real delicious. I wish we had smell-o-vision going right now and you guys could try these too. But we're going to have these recipes as well as the video link so that you can go back and make them yourselves. So 3 things that operators need to know to survive supply chain challenges.
Just off the top of my head, I would say identify your non-negotiables. That would be the first thing, whether that's food, labor, anything relating to service. Secondly, I would say minimizing your menu is a big help. Beyond that, I would say identifying any swaps that you can make product-wise within reason and with respect to what you already do and what makes you successful.
Absolutely. Great points there, Chef. If you need more support, go on to shamrockfoodservice.com/resources where you can find our supply chain checklist. Go over those options with your Shamrock Foods sales representative. You can also find an area for a 30-minute consultation where you could speak to Chef or myself or any one of the consultants on our team, either culinary or business, for support further in your operation. And just remember that with flexibility and innovation, your restaurant too can flourish despite these challenges that just keep on coming. Thanks again. My name is Jeff Pivin with Shamrock, and we thank you for joining us on Kitchen Conversations. Justin, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate
the time. Awesome. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you next time.